Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I'm joined by Kerry Bailey, who is a specialist in arts, crafts, music, creative stuff. She knows far more about all of this than I do, but that's not very difficult because most people know more about stuff than I do. We're going to be talking today about AI and its influence on this particular industry. But we're going to look at it through the lens, as we always do, through the lens of story. And today's story is Humpty Dumpty. And we're going to ask ourselves, why on earth did anybody put Humpty Dumpty on the wall in the first place? Was he expected to fall? And all the resources that were put in afterwards were hopeless because, he was a broken figure. I say he, but he was a broken figure. And I'm just going to talk to Kerry, or Kerry's going to talk to us about whether or not the industries that she works with are being set up to fail with this AI world and what they're doing about it. And I know, Kerry, you've got an awful lot to say about this. So, Kerry, over to you. What do you think?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there, really. So there's the side of just businesses in general. Then there's the side of like music and artists. There's also, you've got to think about. I mean, the company I work for is a charity, so things like funding organisations on. They're backing away from AI stuff, and they are more likely to fund things that are not obviously AI written. So that's something to think about. There's waves of descent in there of it, but there's loads of things that are relevant for it, and we can't say that AI is all bad. I could see it being hugely beneficial in terms of things like sciences. Think about it in terms of space. I mean, if you've got a satellite that you put out there and you can talk to that, and that could be there for forever. It's not likely to die. It's not likely to. You don't need to feed it. It doesn't need. If you've just got an energy source, a lot of these satellites, things like that, will use things like nuclear power or things that will last a long time. And you can still talk to it and get feedback from, like, what does that rock look like?
Yes. It looks like a rock.
Or the asteroids speeding towards
it. Yeah. As long as they're not speeding toward us, I don't mind.
Yeah. But I can see there could be huge benefits in terms of health, science, and but we have to look at it through a lens of someone that doesn't really know that yet.
Yes.
So
yes, absolutely, and on that point, Humpty Dumpty is exactly that person.
Yeah.
They're on this wall. We'll call it the AI wall, right? They realize they're up there. They feel happy up there because somebody somewhere has told them that that's where they need to be. And then at some point, it all goes disastrously wrong, and there's no comeback for them because that's it for them. So that's an interesting perspective, isn't it? Of being told, as you say, AI is a really good thing in various areas, but we can't all be sitting on that wall. Yeah, and the creative industries certainly can't be. In fact, they don't want to go up on that wall in the first place.
Yes. Mm. There's yeah, that's the thing. There's a lot of there's people that are completely embracing it in everything they do, and there's
Yes.
people. There's the other side of that is there's people that are trying to avoid it completely,
Mm,
and you got like DuckDuckGo, which has got an opt out of AI, and their popularity has surged recently.
mm.
Things like so there's two sides of that story.
Absolutely, there is. And if we think about good old Humpty, we only ever see the side of the wall that he falls off. We don't know what's on the other side of the wall, and we don't know if that was, well, how he got up to it or what was going on the other side of the wall. So it is that duality, isn't it, of, well, whether or not that's so. I mean, he could have fallen the other way onto like a lovely mattress and been perfectly safe, but the story didn't go that way. He just fell. So that's the duality, isn't it, that we're all
Mhm.
struggling with at the moment. Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
Yes, and there's always it seems like companies that are just pushing it so much. And I think that's part of the backlash against it a bit as
Mm,
well, because they're pushing it so much and it's kind of feels like it's being forced on you.
yes. Yeah, no, absolutely. And nobody likes being, people like doing things until they're told to do them. And
Yes.
the natural instinct, as soon as you're told to do something, you want to do the exact opposite.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. Because if you had the choice, then people would, but as soon as it's like, oh, I haven't, no, you have to do it like that, then yeah, automatically they will just, right, I'm going to go with someone else down there, or let me have that choice.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And you work with young people, and we know rebellious teenagers, and that's exactly the instinct, isn't it? As soon as you tell
Yeah.
a teenager to do something, you know
Oh, yeah.
exactly that they're going to do the exact opposite because A, they can, and they don't want to be told what to do. And also another thing there is, as soon as you tell somebody not to do something, they immediately want to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know that because you're a sociologist. I mean,
This
you
is
know.
that that curiosity killed the cat, really, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
like, well, why why can't I do that?
yeah, no,
What's
yeah,
so
yeah,
bad? Why do people keep smoking when they know that it's so harmful?
yeah, absolutely. So the more that we're told to use AI, the more people will rebel against it because they'll, I mean, particularly youngsters, because they think, well, why am I being told to do this? Why can't I just do that? And I'd love you to tell our listeners about the band that you were talking to me about the other day when we were
Okay.
first talking, when they were doing something really experimental, which I loved. I haven't listened to it yet, but I loved the sound of it.
Is a band that, sorry if my pronunciation is awful, but the Angine the Poitrine, and they are very experimental. Even their instruments are unique.
Mm-hmm.
They've chopped them up and put them back together into unique ways, and look. They've got like costumes on, and they're supposed to be aliens, and they have completely exploded on all over social media, all over YouTube, and but they are so different.
Yeah.
And I've been saying this for years, that in the music industry, that experimentation is not there anymore.
Mm,
I mean, think about like back in the 60s and 70s, and you had so much experimentation,
yes.
looking at different ways to make music, different instruments. Why did I heard that uh, Pink Floyd were using a cardboard box and a rubber band to try and make a sound of a guitar. Eventually, they just gave up and used the guitar. But it's just that experimentation that's not there in the music industry now.
Mm,
And I think that this Andine de Portrine is such a emphasis of that, and that they're kind of everywhere now, and it emphasizes that experimentation is what people want. They
yes.
want to see something that's different. They don't want to hear the same music with the same tone every song you hear, and and I think that a lot is because like music industry is very controlled.
Mm.
Anything that's but that's a different story. I know, but yeah, it's very exciting to hear some band that is so experimentational, and they've they've looked at the rule book and they've ripped it up, you
Mm,
know. So I think that is it's very exciting to see that and see that creativity,
yes.
always looking for something different, always
Mm,
looking for new sounds, new topics, and that's how music industry has been worked for years. But yeah, things have changed recently, and maybe the way, like you said earlier, about how YouTube is changing that, because
mm,
the power is more in the viewer's hands,
yes.
and you can go and watch the bands that you want on that their own platform, and it's changing that dynamic. It's not like the top of the pops anymore. I'm
Yeah.
showing my age now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. And mine too. And mine too, Kerry, don't worry. Yeah, but
but yeah, it's very
yeah,
very exciting.
yeah, and but it's interesting, isn't it? Because we're being told that AI is going to give us all the answers, so you can just type in a question and you'll get an answer. And an answer, it might not be the correct one, but you'll get an answer, a project, something out of it. Okay, so it's completely consumer driven. And then, as you say, people are looking at that and think, well, actually, I don't want to know the answer. I want to experiment and find
Mm,
the answer. I want to find the answer for myself.
yeah,
I want to try something. And yeah, if I get a cardboard box and a rubber band, I'm not going to be able to play a guitar with it, but it'll probably sound like something. But but I think that's the interesting shift, isn't it? Um, but what you need to have though is you need to have a creative mind
mm,
that tells you, the little creative genie in your brain that says, well, I don't want to know all the answers. I want to find the answers out for myself. AI
you,
might help me
you
on
want
the
your
way. You want to help. You want to help. You want to help yourself. You know.
Yeah, you want your own answer, because one person's answer is completely different to
Well,
someone else's.
exactly, exactly, and I think there is a little bit of a backlash on AI, particularly with with the younger generations, far younger than I am, um, that they are experimenting and doing things without it because that's what they want to do. So tell us, Carrie, a little bit more about your organization, your charity, and what they do. Because you told me that the other day, and it was fascinating. So tell our listeners.
I work for the Yorkshire World Music Foundation, and we do loads of different projects. We have an annual festival that has just taken place recently. We have workshops for young people. We work in things like schools. We have community outreach days, and it's all to do with music and arts. So we have concerts, we have like art competitions, and there's loads of things going on that in terms of music and arts, throughout the year.
Nice. So if I was local, I'm not local to you, obviously, but if I was local to you, can an old fogey like me get involved?
Yeah, we have projects, all sorts of projects. So yeah, a lot of it is towards the young people, but things like we've had classical music concerts in the past, and we've had things like like the community outreach days, which are for everyone from like the toddler down to your grandma, and so everyone is welcome.
Nice. I like that because one of the things I worry about with particularly adult education and adult learning and adult things is that the oldsters, people like me, right, tend to get left behind, or we're in that funny bracket of we're not young enough, but we're not ancient enough either. So and I think there's a lot of people who are in this category of just being in that middle ground where they might need to change direction. They might have lost their job due to AI. I did. But they don't quite know what to do, and they're looking for new outlets and new avenues. And you have this kind of lost group of people, this lost generation of people, which increasingly I think is people in their late 40s, 50s, 60s, and so on, who want to contribute and do stuff, but are increasingly left out of the job market, and they're increasingly left out of society. And stuff like what you're doing is absolutely perfect because it gives people a purpose. It gives people, hobbies and new avenues and things to explore, which I think is absolutely wonderful.
Have you ever felt like AI is taking over?
Well, we know that AI is the biggest workplace shift since the internet, and it's already here. This is AI&I, the age of co-intelligence.